But if your house is on fire, do you want to put the fire out first, or is it more important to blame and figure out, well, how'd the fire start? Yeah. Well, Billy Joel might have had something to do with this. He says he didn't start the fire. Let's look into that. Right. While the house burns. No, you put the fire out, and then the arson investigators come in and figure out the cause.
Well, those guys that keep talking about the Second Amendment, and there's a certain part of that dealing with militias and everything else. When you read this, it's never put in there.
No. And one of my friends who's he teaches history and international relations up in Washington State, had posted a thing on Facebook a couple weeks ago about back when he was in grad school at Georgetown. He and a friend went to the, I don't know what it's called, the National Gun Rights Museum, whatever, that brought to you by the fine folks at the NRA. And you walk in, and up on the wall, they have most of the Second Amendment. Which, for those who do not know offhand, reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. God, I can't even read my own writing here.
That's literally
the rights of the people. Yeah. That's why Ben Franklin invented bifocals shortly after. A little revisionist history for you here. But the rights of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And they always leave off the well-regulated militia part. And I think we sort of
well-regulated.
We sort of talked about this on the show last week, Tymon, that I think as liberals, because we are always being tagged as being anti-Second Amendment. And I think we need to rebrand ourselves as being not anti-Second Amendment, but pro-holistic Second Amendment. We are so in favor of the Second Amendment if you look at the whole thing. Mm-hmm. It's like, if you're pro-10 Commandments, you're not going to take the knots out. Thou shalt commit adultery. Well, hey, yeah, I think a lot of people could get behind that, our current president included. Right. But I think liberals need to stand up for the Second Amendment as it is written and put our focus on the well-regulated portion.
And I always state this: only 3% of our society actually read.
That's right.
3%.
I think that sounds high. That sounds a little high.
It probably has dropped a little high. Yeah, I've been saying
sounds high.
Yeah, they said that people never read books after they get out of high school. Most people don't. Right. That's crazy.
I've had people, I'm telling you, if you want to start an argument or piss someone off, pull out a book. Just flat out pull out a book and piss somebody off because they believe you're dissing them because is that a book you got?
Yeah, what are you reading?
Who do you think you are?
Yes.
Who are you?
Another classic line, as long as I'm running through dead comedians' repertoires. Bill Hicks had the great bit, about being in a Waffle House in the South after a show. And he was sitting at his table, drinking his coffee, waiting for his food to come, reading, and the waitress came by and asked, "What you reading for?" Says, not what are you reading? What are you reading for? And I looked at her and said, "So I don't wind up a fucking waffle waitress."
No, it's funny because my ex-girlfriend, but she even said to me, she said, "So you went to the library?" "Yeah." "What'd you get?" I said, "I got a book."
That's what they have there.
Yeah. And I said, a book on book on speed reading. "Why are you reading that? What are you going to do with that?" And I was like, "Really?
Learn to read fast."
That's one of those.
It's in the name.
I said, "See, that's why we're not together." I just retract all the stupid shit you ever said to me. And that's why I had to go, woo.
So how fast can you read now?
Yeah, I'm up to, I can do probably 300-400.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
and you retain it all?
Yeah, pretty much.
Damn.
Yeah, pretty much. You don't have to go back. Yeah, but I mean, that's all I was trying to do. I mean, if you like to read, I'm just trying to improve.
Sure.
What's wrong with improving my life?
That's
Every
great.
time someone finds out you're trying to improve, you bastard, why would you do that? Stay
People
here
hate
with
it.
the rest of us.
People hate it. They do.
Yeah, that's our problem today, Dave.
Think you're better than me?
Yeah, there it is. You can get into a fight. I'm telling you. Yeah.
And that I think goes to the larger issue that we're dealing with in America. I don't know if any of you watched Bill Maher last night, But one of his guests was the woman who wrote the Tiger Mom book. She's a professor at Yale.
Yeah.
She's got a new book talking about the tribalism inherent in society, really, but the focus is on America. And I got really bothered during the interview segment because of one of the things she said, and they were talking about liberals versus conservatives. And the idea that, people like immigrants are afraid of ICE, that, they fear authority, they fear the others. And you've got your conservatives who are also fearful of these minority groups and everything. And, I know this wasn't her intent, but the argument she was making was basically equating those two fears. And I think that's unfair, because the
immigrants are in real danger physically, and the other fear is a little unfounded.
Police have
Exactly.
guns. Police have guns.
Yeah,
Not all immigrants have guns.
And the police aren't being punished for shooting innocent people as long as they're, black, brown, whatever shades darker than
coffee
I
color.
currently am. Yeah, and it's okay to say that, you have to understand that these people are coming from a place of fear, but you're not allowed to, or you're not supposed to examine where that fear is coming from. And, she went on to say that people on the right tend to resent being called stupid.
Sorry.
And it seems to me that the solution to that problem, rather than the rest of us not calling you stupid, is maybe if you stop being stupid.
But
read a book.
Sometimes when you're stupid, you don't really know how stupid you are. And that's because you have to have at least a bare modicum of discernment, to know what you don't know.
This is true.
And if you're somebody that never even has a chance to know what you don't know.
That's why Socrates always, the way he won arguments, he would say, I don't know.
Right.
By acknowledging I don't know, it still puts me in a position to learn.
It's powerful, right?
Yeah, but and everybody was sitting there going, well, you don't know. Well, and that's why I'm telling you, I don't know.
Right.
I'm not going to sit there and argue with you saying that I know when probably I don't know. So I'd rather say I don't know.
But we'll see.
But I know you'll get the book out of the library for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and, I'm going to rely on my, the faith I was raised in for a moment, because Passover is coming up. And part of the Seder, the ritual dinner, is the four sons. And you've got the wise son, the wicked son, see, this is why we retell the story every year, because I don't remember. But one of the sons is the son who does not know enough to ask.
Right.
And, you don't treat him like an ignorant idiot. This is who Mariya's talking about, the people who don't know that they don't know. And so, I think we do need to maybe be a little more genteel, be willing to hold someone's hand and usher them into the world of knowledge. But you can't deny the fact that these people are ignorant. Otherwise, nothing's going to change. It goes back to the whole gun issue.
Well, if you say
climate change, if you refuse to admit that there's a problem, you're never going to be able to solve the problem.
Well, you're saying about, like they were talking about fear. Well, always in our society, I mean, when we speak of race is fear based. When people say, "Oh, well, they are such and such," I mean, that's why Jim Crow lasted as long as it did. That was based off of fear. They put it into, because if you say, well, you have people who say, well, why aren't blacks doing very well? Well, in segregation, they were doing very well. And as they started to do well, you destroyed it. Matter of fact, you burned down their towns. They had banks. They had schools. They had everything. And what did you say? Well, there was a white woman that was raped. And so we got to go in and we got to burn it down. And so there is always they know that certain groups can move forward, and they fear that. Just like you have now, some of these young white dudes say, "Well, white nationalism." Well, what do you need to be nationalism for? Hell, you're in front. You got everything you need.
You're already in power.
Okay, yeah, you're not being judged by your color. I can't hide this. Hello, the Mexicans can't hide it. Can't hide it. So, but you, Or the white female, hey, you guys are cool. Hey, just go in. Hey, I'm so-and-so. Well, but they're being judged. And so when you use that's fear-based has always worked. It's always easy to blame someone else for your problem.
Yeah, it sounds pretty easy. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, just do it. I even tell, but when I speak to, family members or whatever, and I said, look, don't, look in the mirror because you can't blame the white man for this one. Okay, there are certain things you can, but this is on you. Because, some people say, oh, well, see, white folks, like my sister came to town and she says, oh, they're taking all the jobs. Well, who are they?
Who? Yeah, well.
Who are they? She couldn't tell me who they was. She said,
just somebody.
Somebody taking all the jobs. I said, no, I've done pretty well.
Somebody that's not me is taking all the jobs.
Right. I said, see, you've come here with the wrong attitude automatically. I said, you're already insecure. That's your issue. You need to work on you. You can't just keep going. You can't go from city to city, and saying it's the city. No, look at you.
Right.
A lot of times it's just you. So.
It's almost as if the world is complex and nuanced.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild.
If I can paraphrase a certain president that we're cursed with currently, nobody knew life was so complex.
Who knew healthcare was so complicated?
Yeah.
Crazy. But
I would have went in that school. I would have ran in. I wouldn't worried about no gun. I would have used a damn lie. Your ass would have been hiding like all the rest of them.
Although I do want to take two things that he said this week, that being one of them. And I think maybe if we find the compromise, and we'll talk a little bit more about this in just a moment, but one of his big ideas was that we need to arm the teachers. And
give me that gun.
It's a horrible idea. It's a horrible idea. Most teachers are opposed to it. The day after he said that, a teacher in Georgia fired off a shot in an empty classroom.
And one shot herself in the leg.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw that.
Yeah.
But I think maybe we should arm the teachers and then let Donald Trump run into the schools without a gun.
Yeah.
Let's just see what happens there.
Let's arm the teachers and give them meth or bath salts for superhuman strength.
Yeah.
Really make an army.
Hey, I'll tell you right now, if
prom
somebody
will never be the same.
I was a teacher, and if somebody armed me, I would protect my kids like you wouldn't believe. But I can't promise you that I wouldn't hit grandma bringing in Jimmy's PE clothes. I can't promise you that.
When I was in high school, I think it might have been my senior year, but I don't want to call these people out by name necessarily because they're good people, they're innocent, but so we'll use first names. One of my friends, Zorba, fell asleep in class, and he's sleeping while the teacher is writing stuff up on the board, and we sat alphabetically, and there was a kid who alphabetically should have been right next to him, named Tony, who was sitting next to Zorba. Well, Mr. Kinsel, the not innocent, I'm happy to use his name, was up at the board writing problems and formulas, whatever he was doing, and just in one deft motion, turned around and whipped a piece of chalk at Zorba to wake him up. And he hit Tony, who was not someone that you wanted to throw something at, whether you're a student or a teacher. And Tony, jumped up and was ready to fight the teacher. And the teacher just really angrily said, "I'm sorry, Tony, I was trying to hit Zorba," which woke Zorba up. But I'm thinking, and this is one occurrence, if a teacher who deals with chalk all the time can't hit the right student when he's throwing chalk, not saying teachers should be throwing chalk at students, but this is not someone who should have a gun.
Right.
To ostensibly defend the students.
I do believe teachers should have pepper spray.
Maybe a taser?
No.
You think pepper spray?
Pepper spray is good.
Okay.
Pepper spray is
Have you
good.
ever pepper sprayed anybody?
I haven't used my pepper spray in all 28 years.
Have you ever been pepper sprayed or been in the vicinity?
I have.
Spray it in the corner.
It's very unpleasant.
Our
I
pepper
rather
spray,
enjoy it.
Yeah. If we spray it in the corner, like over there,
we're all going to be out of the room.
Yeah,
you'll choke.
Your face
I think
will
pepper.
burn.
Yeah, I think pepper spray is great for a school teacher.
I have a problem with spicy food, so forget that.
What kind of Latina
No,
are
I
you?
actually love spicy food. I'm totally kidding. Love it.
Yeah.
Well, and one of the other examples of this misguided, I don't know what we're calling it, came this week when former Arkansas governor and presidential candidate and father of current White House disappointment, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Mike Huckabee, who
watch it. The man likes fried squirrel and biscuits.